I think we've reached the point where everyone is waiting for one man. First, we were waiting for General Mkhwanazi. But now, the person that everyone is waiting for is General Khumalo. We need General Khumalo to come and kuluma law commission. He's necessary. He's essential. He's vital. He's the priority. There was confirmation today that on Monday, General Khumalo will come to Kuluma Lendaba. He'll be available on Monday to shake the table of Hosh Panic. It's about time to listen to Kumalo. It's about time to listen to Kumalo. Hey, it's about time to listen to Kumalo. Shout out, boom shaka. So, welcome to another episode of The Dissection. Today was day 7, and giving testimony was Advocate Harrison. She gave information on prosecutor-guided investigations, the history of the task team, its relationship with the Office of Public Prosecutions in KwaZulu Natal. She gave her perspectives on the disbandment of the team. And she actually pointed out that it was so bewildering because she actually saw reports on social media at the start of 2025 that the task team has been disbanded. She actually thought it was fake news. She was on leave, just chilling at home, and she sees these reports circulating and she thinks, this can't be real. This must be fake news. So let's talk about who she is and where she fits into the picture. Advocate Harrison has been working as a prosecutor from the 1st of June 2000. So this is her 25th year in the game. She's not new to it. She's true to it, as they would say. Right? So 25 years in the game. She became an acting director of public prosecutions in KwaZulu Natal in 2019, and then later became the director in 2019 as well. She outlined how she never got any information, as I said. None whatsoever. She saw it on social media. At no point, up until this point, has she been given any official communique about the disbanding of the team. And she spoke about how problematic it would have been for the task team, 1, to be disbanded, but 2, also to be disbanded immediately, as this would have had adverse impacts on the investigations that were ongoing, on protection of witnesses, and also on just the sustainability of those cases, the impact on the families of the victims waiting for justice. She actually broke it down and made it clear. She valued the team, did not value the disbandment or its immediate nature. This is some of what she had to say today.
Explain your overall view of the political killings task team and what value, if any, it had.
As the Director of Public Prosecutions for KwaZulu Natal, I have considered the political task team as an essential and necessary structure for the province of KwaZulu Natal and the country as a whole. This is so as the team was precisely aimed at dealing with politically motivated and related crimes that gained momentum and threatened to destabilize the province and to spiral to other provinces.
And in terms of the practicalities and the efficiencies of the system that you had in place, did you see any need for the disestablishment of the task team and the disestablishment of the system that you had in place?
Counsel, I did not see any need for it.
You previously said that no one consulted with you prior to the decision, if the apparent decision to disestablish the task team. What would your position been if anyone had consulted you prior to taking such a decision, or for your views on whether such a decision should be taken?
After everything is said and done, and everything that went into providing the coordinated approach and providing this coordinated team, I would have strongly motivated against the de-establishment. If I had been approached for a comment, I would have.
And why?
Because it showed that it was working. At that time, it was very it was very evident that the team was working well, and to de-establish it would both be counterproductive and also destructive of the vast amount of work that had gone into shaping the system and the structures that were now working well.
Assume for a moment that it was competent for the minister to disband the task team. Would you have expected that be done immediately, or what would have been your expectation, knowing what you know about the task team and its work?
In my opinion, Commissioner, you've got a system that is working, and if that is what is intended, when you say the word immediately and you go and you look up the word immediately, it's today, pack up your bags and go. You can't do that. We are victim centered as NPA. We would have probably requested for some time a continuation, because we've invested even not only in, it's not the victims, but our witnesses. We develop a rapport with our witnesses, who develop a rapport with regards to investigators, even bringing them to the prosecutor for consultation or for trial purposes. Now, when you say get up and go today, it's you leave everything. The better process was, let's sit down and let's try and find a system which will work for the benefit of ensuring that the interests of justice are always maintained, and we look after our victims and we look after our witnesses.
So is it fair to say you would have expected a proper winding down process that takes into account victims, ongoing cases, and ongoing investigations, including those cases that are on the roll?
That is correct, Commissioner.
There were several letters that were also discussed today. The letter from Khwanazi, which was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, her response to his letter, and then the historic letter from Begicele from 2019 discussing the issues which needed to be resolved in prosecutions and some of the issues which were playing out in KwaZulu Natal, and also just nationally around the issues around prosecutions. The effect of all of these letters and the discussion of these letters as part of the testimony was to corroborate the versions which were given by General Khwanazi, by General Masemola, on the background of the setting up of the task team, the impact of the team, the irrationality of the decision to disband the team, the successful nature of the prosecution-led process. By the end of today's testimony, it was very clear the history of the team, the success of the team, the prosecution side, the operation side, the national management side. All of those elements were clarified succinctly and crystal clear. There's no ambiguity. There's no confusion. When it came to the success of the task team, she used a different metric than other people had been using. She viewed the team as having been successful on the basis of the finalization rate. And she spoke about how they had a higher finalization ratio once the task team was working with her office with this prosecution-led process. We heard specifically about the challenges with witnesses, challenges around the Section 204 witnesses. These are the accomplice witnesses. They often have challenges, being in witness protection. Some people don't want to be in witness protection. Witnesses get killed outside of the program. Witnesses get turned against the state. There was a whole conversation about that and the necessity to have fast prosecutions so that you don't lose witnesses in the way. And we heard Khwanazi also speak about how some witnesses actually got killed. Part of the reason why some cases have not been getting finalized is because the witnesses have been getting neutralized and finalized by the Hosh fathers. So that witness issue is one that I think needs to be looked into much further. There was mention of Ronald Lamola, who was then Minister of Justice, and how he was in attendance in some of the meetings where she was in attendance, and how I guess he could corroborate some of this if it's controversial. As to whether his mention will warrant him being called to the commission, I don't necessarily think so at this particular stage, because he hasn't been impugned in anything. He hasn't been implicated in anything. This year, the only thing that Ronald Lamola has been implicated in is being a good friend of Johan Rupert. Rupert, you remember talked about how Lamula was a radical, and then, Rupert spoke to him, and now he's a good guy. He's a good boy. He's Rupert's favorite out there. So he hasn't been implicated in any horse curry behavior. Only some indoctrination behavior so far. So that's where things ended. Today was not so much of a long day. It was quite succinct in what it was trying to explore and the questions that were being considered. So it looks like everything now has been building up to the next man, Khumalo. The stage is now set for Mega Monday, Khumalo Monday, Momentum Monday. We've heard from General Mkhwanazi. We've heard from the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masemola. We've heard from the head of legal. And now we've heard from the head of prosecutions in KwaZulu Natal. All of these people have given a view on the nature of the decision to disband, the impact of that decision. But there's one man who needs to give another view. Let's look at what has been argued so far. Number one, it has been argued that it was a disorganized decision to disband the political killings task team, and one that was taken without the consultation of people on the ground. Many stakeholders and role players were not consulted, were not briefed as the disbanding was happening. There was confusion, poor change of management, and unhealthy appetite to get hands on dockets. That's the first argument. The second is that the decision did not make any sense because the problem of political killings was still persisting, is still persisting. There were multiple political killings in KwaZulu Natal and nationally this year, and there were some even last year. So the argument that the team is no longer necessary is one that was challenged. The argument that it was not effective also is one that was challenged. The third argument is that the decision was not a policy decision, it was not a directive, but rather it was an operational matter. And in making that decision, Senzo Mchunu, the Minister of Police, encroached beyond his powers and parameters as Minister of Police, and he started to deal with the how part. The how's it part of it. They said, no, you can't do that, Chief. Red card. So we heard arguments around that. Now, the fourth argument was that the decision seems to have been driven by an ulterior motive. The motive to stop the net closing in on Katiso Molefe, Vusi Matlala, and other street soldiers of the Hosh Curry syndicate. It was Hosh Panic which drove this as they saw the net closing in. They saw the Akushi Dawn getting taken. They saw Katiso Molefe getting taken. They saw CAT VIP protection services running out of lives because the cops came in there and they were like, what's going on here? So as they were seeing these search and seizures, as the Kenny Kunenes were being found in homes and places, people were like, we need the dockets. We need to find out what's going on. That's the allegation, the implication, the insinuation. That Brown Mkhotsi, Malcolm X Light, local Malcolm X, and others were busy sending messages left, right, and center to these people, trying to get these things stopped, frozen, derailed. That's what was the fourth argument. But that argument needs a little bit more work. Points 1 to 3 have been relatively proven to this point, in my opinion. But point number 4 needs more flesh on the bone. This is what people are expecting to see on Khumalo Monday, Momentum Monday, Mega Monday, Receipts Monday, Show Us the Text Messages Monday. And it may very well be that Kumalo will testify for multiple days if there's a lot of content in those files. But right now, the stage is set. One of my files. Keep up my files. Kumalo. I hope you've got your paperwork all sorted out. Hope you've got your paperwork all sorted out, Mr. Khumalo, because General Khumalo, because people are waiting for you. People are waiting for you. People are waiting for Khumalo. Hey, it's lit. Spears panicking. Kunu's hitting his head. The other Brigadier Mkhwanazi, there, Shady Mkhwanazi, Slim Shady, Tiki Slim Shady. He's also now on leave. Everyone's getting leave, suspension. It's a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension. It's a movie. Did you guys watch Day 7? Let's talk in the comments. What are you expecting on Monday? I'll catch you there.